Hey guys, it's Prince Rich with Rich Technology Group, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about that time that a particular company or opportunity that we worked with thought that they were going to get a business voice over IP phone system of 58 extensions. Yes, 58 phones for less than $500. So I'm going to get into this story of kind of what transpired, what happened, and then I'm going to talk about some best practices because there's nothing wrong with wanting a good deal for your business phone system or business internet or any services, but you got to be realistic. And I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about ways to do that effectively without burning yourself by getting something that sounds too good to be true. So anyways, to jump right into this story, recently we got called by a business that had approximately 5 locations. They had approximately a 58 extension phone system that they were looking to replace with something better, something virtual, something that was in the cloud, something that would, give them better function and feature than what they have now, but also save a little bit of money. At first, when this person engaged us, they actually had a quote from another provider that we do represent. And I told the guy, I said, what they quoted you is a bit high, but I know of a carrier that not only is a little bit better in regards to what you're trying to do, I know I can get them to come in at not only a better price, but a significantly better price. We ended up doing that, and we ended up coming in back with something that was coming in at almost approximately $300 to $400 less per month for a better platform and better solution than what we were able to, than what the client brought from the other carrier, as well as the other carrier had charged the customer somewhere in the realm of like $3,600 for installation and configuration or something, whereas with the particular carrier that I presented to the table that was better platform, better monthly price, they were willing to come in at only like a couple $100 installation and configuration because they wanted the business and also because they were able to do a lot of the installation remotely, which essentially doesn't cost them anything but their staff's time. So we came to the table with that. The prospect really, really liked it. But then he tried to push the card. He went and took the quote that I got from the better carrier at a better price, took it back to the other carrier that was overcharging him, and basically said, hey, this is what these guys were able to do. Can you come back and do better? They came back and did a little bit better. It wasn't much. They knocked off like $100 or something like that. And then my guy with the carrier we were looking at said, you know what? I'll match their offer, with an ace or something like that. He ended up offering my client, because they had a special going on, free phones. 58 phones from the carrier at no extra cost, but they weren't willing to go down on the monthly fee. It was a great deal. I even told the prospect that we were working with, dude, this is a great deal. You should take it. He decided to play the card even more and went and took that deal, that offer, took it back to the other carrier. The other carrier could not match it, and then it just turned into this battle between that carrier and the carrier that I was representing, saying, oh, well, our platform is better than this because of this reason, and oh, our platform is better than them because of that reason. And then it just started getting plain nasty at some point where they were, bad-mouthing the other carrier, and so on and so forth. At that point, the carrier that I was working with said, you know what? We know that our platform is better than this provider. We know that our customer service is better. We know that, our technical support, should any problems arise, is going to be better. But since it's the end of the month, in the interest of helping ourselves close this deal and, win some good numbers at the end of the month, we're going to go ahead and give this guy an additional $160 off, which how they did that was, even though they gave the client the phones for free, they offered to not charge him anything for shipping on the phones because they still had to charge for shipping because FedEx, UPS got to get paid. They offered to cover the shipping, which resulted in another additional $160 discount. At that point, the other carrier was out. Carrier couldn't match it, and then that's where we were. About a week or so went by, and I went and reached out to the prospect and said, hey, man, all due respect, I don't want to be pushy, but this deal that I was able to get you through this carrier, this is like at the end of this month, if you don't take it, it expires. They only did this for you as a favor to try to, close out their sales month with a bang and offer you a really good price that they know nobody of equal caliber platform can match. I bugged this guy the last week of the month and basically said, look, I don't want to be pushy, but you really need to accept this. You won't get this deal again based on what I'm being told and based on the messages that I'm getting from the voice over IP service provider. He ended up sitting on it, lost the $160 discount and a little bit more, came back later in an email basically saying, well, if I'll go with this price, but if you guys don't give me this price, there's no way that I'm going to take the deal, blah, 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 blah. You know, at this point, we know that the guy's motive is not feature and function. The guy's motive is obviously not getting his business the best phone system that, you know, represents their needs. It's all about price at this point, and we knew that. I went back to the carrier, and I really honestly didn't think that they'd be willing to extend this deal for him another month, but they did. And then it gets even better. He ends up basically taking that quote and going somewhere else, which later he told me who the carrier was, and saying, oh, this carrier, you know, I just feel like that the people that you represent, that you recommended, and the one that I was working with before, they're just asking for way too much money for a voice over IP phone system. I found another carrier that said that they can do it for half price. So let's stop just there. At this point, we realize that the guy's motive has nothing to do with feature, function, or best fit for platform that represents his company. It's either him or the powers that be that he works for. All they care about is price. Well, I'm here to tell you guys, I have seen many, many scenarios where people have done just this. They've gone with a price that was too good to be true, or they've gone with the carrier that had the lowest possible, bottom of the barrel, you know, lowest bid price. And I can tell you so many stories where the customer got burned. To give you a great example, I'll give you a couple. I had one customer way back when, it was a church that we did a quote for that needed approximately 16 extensions. Not super small, but not super big either. We gave him a quote that we thought was really competitive. We even went back to the carrier on their behalf and negotiated price a little bit to make it all fair for all parties, you know, reasonable for the client, but also where the carrier was, you know, still making enough money to keep the lights on. And the client ended up respectfully contacting me and saying, hey, Prince, I decided to go with XYZ carrier. I'm going to send you over the quote, but it came in way cheaper, like less than half price cheaper per month than what you quoted through XYZ carrier. Turns out later that client reaches out to me approximately, I want to say they reached out to me approximately maybe like 3 months later saying it didn't really matter because they were stuck in a contract, but they made a really big mistake. Two things. Number one, they had to sign a 6-month agreement, 6-year agreement because the carrier had charged them so much for phones to make that number not look like tens of thousands of dollars or whatever it was they charged. They made it to where it was a little bitty charge over a certain amount of time. So it was almost transparent, but still there. But over so much time, 6 years is a long time to be in a contract with a carrier, especially if you decide that you're unhappy, especially if you go out of business and need to get rid of it for financial reasons or personal reasons, or especially if you grow and that carrier doesn't fit your needs and you need to make a change. The other thing that was actually, I shouldn't be saying this, it wasn't funny for the client, but I thought it was kind of funny, was the client ended up basically coming back and bragging to me saying, oh, well, these guys only charged us $6.99 per month per extension, whereas this other, you know, the guys that you had, they wanted $19.99 a month. What was the catch? The catch was what they didn't read and find out until later in the contract and the fine print was each extension on this 16 extension church only had 100 minutes of talk time. Local, you know, domestic, long distance US. Once they went over that 100 minutes, it was something like almost like 14 cents per minute for every single person on the network, incoming and outgoing calls on top of their monthly fee. Now back to the story of the guy that thinks he's going to get the 58 extensions for, you know, less than $500 or something like that. When we finally decided to part ways, he came to me and basically said, well, honestly, I feel like the carrier that you're recommending and the other one that I was combating with you on price that I was working with, they're all just asking for too much money. And I told the guy, I said, you know, it's come to my attention that what you think this stuff really costs in the market is not actually realistic. And then he says, well, that's not true because this company, XYZ, they're only charging me this much, which is half what you guys are asking for and much less than half what the other company that we were looking at is asking for. What was the catch? The Funny thing was the carrier that he mentioned he was talking with, I represented, which I kind of very politely told him, you know, I told you that I represented every carrier, and it obviously is a true testament that you don't respect my time, that you engaged them and didn't even ask me about it. First of all, the funny thing was he was right. They were charging a price that was half what I quoted him, even after all those discounts and bargain negotiating. What he didn't realize was that the system that he was looking at, it requires SIP trunks. It isn't like some of these hosted providers out here where it's just an all-in-one service and all you need is internet. What he was looking at only charges around like $9 a month, but you still need SIP trunks to even activate the service to have a dial tone that are going to cost an additional approximate $9 to $14 per month per line on the entire system. So what am I saying and what is the conclusion of this video? Basically, what I want you guys to realize is this. This stuff has a price for a reason. Now, I'm not saying that every single carrier out there is charging a fair price or is charging the best deal or is even within the market. There are many carriers out there, many that I represent that I don't necessarily recommend, but we can still represent and get quotes for them that I personally think are overpriced in comparison to the rest of the market. But there's two things that I want to be the takeaway of this video and that I want you guys to understand before we check out on this video. Number one, you've got to put feature, function, and what you need in the platform for your particular business before the price. I'm not saying that you shouldn't look at the price because every business has a budget, and as a small business owner myself, I understand the bottom line at the end of the day is everything. It's all about positive cash flow and having a little money left over for yourself or marketing or whatever it may be. But if you put price before feature and function, you are going to become another statistic in the many, many stories that I could tell you where somebody ended up with a phone system that had the perfect price tag and it underserved their company. One other big thing that I want to mention, and this is one thing that I can almost guarantee is going to happen with this particular individual that is the subject of this video, because I ended up having to write him off. I ended up basically having to tell him, look, two things are obvious. Number one, you don't respect my time and my expertise. That's clear when you go shopping over my head and when you tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about and that I don't even have a clue how the market works. It's what I do for a living. Number two, I had to tell the guy, you are clearly not about feature and function and what's best for the business. You're all about price. And while we're on that subject, I can tell you guys from personal experience, this is point number two. You don't want to be that one customer or that small handful of customers with a carrier where you beat the carrier up so badly on price and kind of disrespected their platform and their function and feature and what they bring to the market so badly and focused on price so badly to win their business that when you need their help, you're that guy. You're that, oh, that's that dude that he's a cheapskate, you know, because they're not going to want to spend their time. They're going to want to spend time with other customers that pay the reasonable price, that respect not only their platform for what it is and what it brings to the market that's unique and different, but they respect their product and their offering and their price, which all boils down to their time, what sets them apart, their platform, and all that stuff. You don't want to be that one customer that beat up somebody so badly on price that once you finally get what it is that you wanted, when you reach out to them for help, they don't want to have anything to do with you because they know you as that guy or that girl, or that cheapskate, or whatever it is. So anyways, that concludes the video, that time that we worked with a customer that thought he was gonna get 58 extensions for under $500 or less. For all I know, he could be still out there pitting different providers against different providers until he gets to $0 a month at zero cost for hardware. I don't know, but as I mentioned to him and as I'll mention to you guys, you don't wanna go down that road because you end up underserving your company and getting the price you want for a phone system that you never wanted or that you never needed and that doesn't serve your company. So anyways, if you're in the throes of looking for a new phone system and you are somebody that, you know, the cost is a concern, but you do also understand the value and the need of having a business phone system or platform that serves your business and gives your business exactly what you need, but at the right price, that you can show to the accountant or show to your boss and put a smile on their face, give me a call. I represent every single voice over IP service provider in the United States. Prince Rich with Rich Technology Group, your go-to guy for the best deals on business phone and internet service in the United States. Talk to you guys again in the next video.